All you need to make these cute Valentine's crafts are paper, a Cricut, and a printer. No worries, if you don't have a printer, I'll share alternative options for you. Starting with this mini bookmark, we're going to add a heart shape in Cricut Design Space and size it however you like. You can add a decorative detail if you like, but this is optional. I decided to add a rose image and I set it to draw on under operations. Then I just rotated it slightly to get the placement I wanted and set it there. Then from the shapes panel, you want to add a line and rotate it to line up with the straight sides of the heart. So just use the rotating corners, get it in place. This is probably about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch away from the edge, and then size the line down if needed. Then once it is in place, we're going to duplicate it and flip it horizontally, and then go ahead and align the two pieces so that the bottom points are touching, which you'll see in just a second. And this is going to make it so that when it cuts, that V will be one cut. So once the design is all set, we're going to select all and attach so that we have the drawing function and then the cut function separate. And resize at this point if you need to. For this project, I used this lightweight cardstock in the color pink. And if you decide to add a drawn design, you will need a Cricut pen, and then you'll just follow the prompts to draw and cut this design. And here is how it looks. Now, this design can definitely be made with the Cricut Joy as long as the dimensions are within the mat size. Next, we have this mini envelope that is the perfect size for a handwritten note. And I started this one by using a square shape sized to 3.5 by 5 inches. Then I duplicated it and made the second one slightly shorter at 3 inches. And you can change the colors on your mat if that's helpful. Then I added a half circle, and I wanted the straight edge along that top square, so I'm going to rotate that. But I also sized this one to 5 inches for the width, and then the height that I have is 2.86. And then I'm just flipping to make sure this is going to come out the way I want it. And we're going to add 2 more half circles to create the flaps for the sides of our envelope. I will go ahead and link to this project if you're interested in Cricut Design Space so you don't have to do it yourself. So I'm just flipping, adding shapes, and making sure it's sized the way I want it and getting them in place. Once I have all my elements, I'm going to use the cursor to nudge each of those sides towards that initial large square because I want them all lined up perfectly. So I'm just checking my positioning against the position of the large square, and then I will use my arrow keys on my keyboard to slightly nudge it towards that shape, and then select each one with that center square and use Unite to see if it overlaps properly. So if you get the shapes united without a line, that means they're overlapped properly and they're going to combine together. But if they don't, just nudge it over a little bit more and use Unite once again. So to get the little heart cut out, we're going to add a heart shape, and then I did flip it vertically because when it folds down, we want the heart to be right side up. And went ahead and centered that against the oval or the circle, half circle. Then we're going to select those two shapes and subtract, or you can slice. Now, once I'm done positioning each of those outer shapes and checking unite, before I go ahead and unite, I'll add the line from the shapes panel. Make sure it's set to score, and we're going to size that to each side as I add, and use that position up top again to align this against each outside edge of that middle square. And we want this placed exactly so that the scoring line will be exactly around that initial rectangle. Now, once everything is in place, you've got all your score lines, all the elements, we can go ahead and select the shape elements and unite. Then we'll select all the elements, including the score lines, and attach so that we have the scoring and then the cutting. Always double check your mat, because I did have one out of place and had to go back and fix it. So here is our cut screen. I am going to cut this one out of the same lightweight cardstock. And for this one, you will need a scoring wheel or stylus depending on your machine. Here is our little envelope cut out, and assembly is very simple. We're just going to fold along those score lines and then add glue, or I'm using double-sided tape, to the outer edge of the bottom flap. I would avoid adding it to the sides, as that's what I did in my test, and it kind of peeks out at the top where they don't overlap. So add the glue or tape to the sides of the bottom edge like I'm doing here. Now these come together so quickly, and how cute is that for a little handwritten note or for Valentine's Day, but you could use these year round. Now, if you're using your Cricut Joy, you'll have to remove the score lines because it does not have that function, and then just use a straight edge to go ahead and fold each of the sides and assemble it with tape or glue in the same way. Now, if you don't like the hole where the heart is, you could add a piece of cardstock to give it a pop of color. Or I found these felt hearts at Dollar Tree, which I thought would be perfect to add on top, and it could act as a closure or add it underneath for a little peekaboo look. To pair with the envelope, I made some mini sticker sheets, and in Design Space, I found a sticker sheet template, which is perfect to maximize space on your sticker paper. So I will link to that as well. And then once we have the template on the canvas, we can upload all of our images or use Design Space images if you like. So to upload, you just click upload, then upload image, then browse to find your file. Go ahead and remove the background if needed, and select flattened image and upload. So to set up our mini sticker sheets, we're going to use a square shape, set the operation to guide, and then draw so that we have an outline to fill in, and we can size this to fit however little mini sheets you want on your page. So I'm just playing with the dimensions here so I can get 4 of these little rectangles into the template. Now, once your images are added to the canvas, you can add an offset, which is optional. But if you are adding one, you can select the size and the color, and then we'll select both the image and the offset and click flatten so it becomes one flat image. Then you can resize from here, change the angle, and set it wherever you like. So once one mini set is done, duplicate it as many times as needed to fill the outline template, which is what I did. And then just select the square outline along with the set of stickers within it and set it to attach. And this will keep everything in place, so each little mini sheet will be in its own square. And once we have that all set, we can go ahead and remove the template or just hide it from the screen because we do not need to cut that out. So now we can send it to the printer and follow the prompts to cut with the Cricut. I always remove bleed because that turns on automatically. When I do offsets, I turn that off, and always use the system dialog box. So just check those functions, do a test if you need to before you go ahead with your sticker paper. I suggest printing a test on regular copy paper if you've never done stickers, but I also did it here just testing to see where my placement would be because I used this shipping label paper with a divide in the middle. So I just printed a test to see if the placement would be right. So there is the material setting I used to cut these out, and here is how my little mini sticker sheets look. Now it did cut around the outline of the box, but I did go back and use my paper trimmer to trim these down to size. And you'll see in just a second how perfectly these fit into that mini envelope. How cute would this be for your kids to give as little Valentines? Now, alternatively, if you have the Cricut Joy, which does not have a print then cut option, you could use outlined images set to draw and then add an offset and attach the two. And go ahead and check out the linked video because I have shown this process before, in which I use the Dollar Tree shipping labels to print these. This final Valentine's craft is a mini color by number sheet. You are going to start by finding an image with an outline. I just found a heart with hearts inside it in Cricut Design Space. And we want to set the operation to draw, so we have just the outline. Now this design had multiple groupings, which is perfect for this type of project, so we're going to hide everything except for one group. Then to add the numbers, just click on text, select a font, and start with the number 1. And once you have your font decided and your number typed in, go ahead and resize if you need to and add that same number to each of these shapes. You can resize the number to make it smaller if you need to for the smaller shapes within your image. And it helps if you have a writing font selected for this. So we're just going to repeat this process for each group within our design, and once we have all our numbers in place, we can go ahead and unhide all the parts of the image, and then go ahead and select everything, including the numbers, and click Attach to keep it all in place. So at this point, we can go ahead and size it down because we've got all the numbers in place. And then to make it a sheet, add a square shape or whatever shape you like, and then add a title using text. I'm just calling this color by number, and add the number and color that you want this to go by. So I just used a circle shape using 4 because I have 4 numbers, and then changing the color of that circle to the colors that I want the image to be colored. And of course, add a number beside each of the colors to label it. Now, once everything is aligned and in place, go ahead and select the entire project and click Flatten, and this will make it a print then cut project. And then just duplicate as many times as you like. Now the same rules apply for printing this one with the Cricut Joy. You'll want to just set the elements of the design all to draw, and instead of using the shapes with the colors, just use text. And bonus points if you print this on sticker paper for a cute keepsake project. Go ahead and leave any questions you have on these cute Valentine's Cricut crafts in the comments, and check out the description for all the links I talked about, and check out these videos on screen for more paper projects with Cricut. I'll see you in the next one.